Mix. Craig Ashton with Ashton Price here to answer your legal questions, right? We always get a ton of questions for you, so we'll get right to it.
We've got a couple good ones this morning. Starting off with one guy, and this is really serving as a great opportunity to remind everyone to be cautious when you're behind the wheel. He says, I rear-ended a car in my work truck last year. The driver is suing me and the company I work for. So the court date is scheduled for next April, and this viewer is very concerned about what might happen to him. What kind of advice do you have?
Okay, so basically he's dealing with a cause of action for negligence. And what that means is that everybody on the road does everyone else a duty of reasonable care. So when you rear end somebody, it doesn't take Perry Mason to figure out that he's definitely at fault. So this case is not going to be about what happened, it's going to be about what damages he caused. So the issue here, I think what he has is there's a claimed brain injury. Brain injuries are very difficult to basically diagnose. CAT scans and MRIs really, unless you have some sort of lividity or swelling, you really can't detect brain damage with a test. The only way that you can actually detect brain damage is through autopsy. I don't know if you remember Junior Seau. He committed suicide plea for and he shot himself in the chest so he could have his brain looked at for post-traumatic encephalopathy. And it turned out he did have the brain damage, but you couldn't tell that but for ultimately the autopsy. So the idea is that he's going to be entitled to the plaintiff, his medical, lost income and pain and suffering. Brain damage is a harder damage to prove, but I'm sure he has insurance, so they have duty to indemnify and also to defend, so it shouldn't cost him anything. And if he's got a company car, it should have plenty of insurance, so it's very unlikely that he'd be personally responsible for this.
Good. That's good news there.
And insurance companies want to keep their money, so they're going to provide you with really good defense counsel.
Right. All right, our next question, this one from Kim. She says, my great aunt and her husband at 92 years old just wrote a will, medical and financial power of attorney, naming me as the person to handle everything. My name is wrong, spelled wrong. On all the papers the attorney used my first name, maiden name, and my last name. Is this something I need to worry about?
Yeah, this is how attorney jokes get started. So at the end of the day, it's really important that you have the accurate name on the document.
Gotta have it.
And the thing is because when you're dealing with end-of-life issues, there's usually money involved. And people tend to act a little bit irrationally when there's money at stake. So it's really important that the documents that you have are properly done with your name on it. So you definitely want to make sure that you change that.
And then that viewer went on to say that the lawyer is wanting to charge her $100 to change the name. But if it's the lawyer's fault, I mean... That seems like a red flag. Maybe you want to get a new lawyer. Maybe.
Yeah, I mean, the argument can be made that he should be, or he or she should be doing this for free.
Right. Absolutely.
You know, Yelp is a very valuable tool, so go on Yelp.
all the time.
Yeah, fair point, fair point. Buyer beware, even when, especially when you're hiring an attorney.
Yeah, if they make a mistake and want to charge you $100 to fix it, I mean, that's not something we would do, but, you know.
Okay, good to know.
We're glad you're here today. We've been talking a lot, of course, about the Oakland fire there, the warehouse, and there's been some talk, too, about some possible charges that could be charged. Still early in the investigation as to which ones, but can you give us any insight?
Yeah, I mean, there's going to be two causes of action. One's going to be civil, so there's going to be the multiple wrongful death cases, and then there's going to be a determination of whether or not there's enough insurance to cover all these losses. I'm sure there isn't. There's no amount of money that can make you whole. You want a magic wand that's never happened. So the civil system is really not set up to deal with this type of loss. Criminally, it really depends on what sort of code violations we have. If it's just negligence, and it might be basically negligent homicide. If it is reckless, it could lead to murder charges. So
do you think that people will be going after the person who is managing the building or the owner of the building, or could both be? Yeah,
I'd say everybody's probably, anybody who has any sort of association, the manager, the owner, probably is going to be in the legal basically in legal jeopardy.
And the criminal investigation just now getting underway. I mean, really, we are months away from knowing what the cause of this fire is. They did determine that it was in the back of that warehouse. So far, 36 people died, and 30... I think 35 identified at this point, and still 50 missing, and I mean, that's just huge numbers.
Yeah, I guarantee you there's going to be a very thorough investigation for sure, and the people that need to be made responsible are definitely going to be held responsible. And this is a national, probably a worldwide story at this point.
Well, and now all across the country, I mean, here in Sacramento, we're looking at, could this happen here, and what kind of steps do building owners need to be taking to make sure that everything is properly vetted and that you're up to code? I mean, it's mission critical.
Super important, because there's going to be consequences, criminal and civil, and if there are violations of the fire code, then somebody's going to jail for sure.
Wow. All right. Good information.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Always great to see you, Craig
Nice to see you
Ashton.
as well.
Thanks so much. If you'd like to get in contact with him, we've got information on our website, gooddaysacramento.com.
And he will not charge you $100 to
Right.
change that. That's what I've learned from this conversation.
Yes.
9:41. Well, they